12-5, triple your win total from the year before, the largest turnaround in NFL history. The Cardiac Commanders have done it again, man. What a win. Incredible. The boys are 12-5. We have tripled our win total from last year. It is the single greatest turnaround in NFL history. And your Washington Commanders beat the Dallas Cowboys 23-19. Score was 6-3 at the half. Marcus Mariota hits Terry McLaurin on the walk-off to win it. And we are Dom and Pop. Welcome back to the Dom and Pop podcast. What a game. Pop, how you feeling, man?
It's just what we do. What we do. Sit there for 3 hours and suffer and work out every scenario in your head of losing the game, and then on the last play, or second to last play, I guess technically, we win it. It's crazy. You never know what's going to happen. It shows the resilience of this group. I have to say it, like, football is just the greatest reality TV you could ever imagine, because here we are about to blow this game. And I wasn't super happy about it, although I got it, and we could talk about that in a bit. And then the Bears have the ball, a minute left, very highly likely to win their game, and they fumble, give it away.
Yeah.
So Packers score, go ahead, touchdown. So let's just fast forward to the last play of the game. While we're getting ready to snap the ball for that very last play, Marcus to Terry for the winning touchdown, the Bears hit a winning field goal, and it doesn't matter. And it's like within a matter of seconds, we went
the whole
from
world
going
changes.
to Philly to either now, going to Tampa or LA. It's just it's crazy.
Mind-boggling.
And going from a very different tone in this podcast and probably going into next week, because I did not want to go to Philly.
No,
I did not want to go to Philly. Not coming off this kind of loss, what luckily turned out to be a glorious victory.
Yeah, it was pretty glorious is the right word for it, man. It was glorious indeed. And just Marcus Mariota, you just can't give the guy enough credit. Nothing but just a class act, a great person. You saw last week the clip of him hyping up Jaden before Jaden goes and throws that last touchdown play. You heard that on the mic'd up. It was pretty much the only words other than White 80 said hut that was said on that mic'd up. But for him to come in and do what he did today, I think is special. I got nothing but good things to say about the guy, and people around the league have nothing but good things to say about the guy. Pop putting the hand up, squeeze that hand a little further into the frame just in case it gets cropped. There you go. Pop taking hand up accountability there on Marcus Mariota. Love to see it. I'm going to go ahead and take hand up on accountability here today on Dan Quinn. I was in favor of the Quinn hire, but today I had nothing but bad things to say about Dan Quinn coming into the half. I was not happy about the coaching decision, and I think my exact words were that he vomited all over himself. Dan Quinn, if you're watching this, I hope you're not. I hope you're watching film for Tampa Bay or LA, but if you are watching this, Dan Quinn, I am sorry. I should have never doubted you. What you have done with this franchise. I said it earlier today in our group chat, Pop. I said, they have turned around this ship in such a way that what I read off earlier to you, 12-5, triple your win total from the year before. The greatest is an 8-game swing, which is the largest turnaround in NFL history. There literally has not been a turnaround that big. So to do that, Jaden obviously deserves all the credit that he's gotten and then some. But Quinn and Adam Peters, Cliff Kingsbury, Joe Witt Jr., the whole list, every single piece of this organization, down to Josh Harris, Magic Johnson, Mitch Rales, the rest of that ownership group, every single person deserves equally as much credit on the the non-player personnel side. Everybody who's made all the moves that have been made that aren't players, they deserve all the credit as well, because what Dan Quinn has done for this team, the fight that he's instilled in this team, what Adam Peters has done. I mean, the largest roster turnover in the NFL this year. 12 wins, and you picked a bunch of guys. They didn't go out and sign Patrick Queen and Aaron Rodgers or whatever, all the big name free agents. They didn't go out and do that. You picked a bunch of guys that were in between situations, barring a few marquee guys, Biadish, Luvu, but you're getting Pro Bowl performances out of Jeremy Chin, out of Dante Fowler Jr., out of Austin Eckler, who a lot of people had said was done before this year. Just great turnaround. It's time to give everybody their flowers. We could talk about the game, which was pretty much a stinker up until that ending. The last play, I tweeted it. I was like, we need a 90-plus yard drive with 3 minutes to go from Marcus Mariota to clinch the 6th seed. This is bizarro world. And somehow you get an 11-play, 91-yard drive. Mariota converts with a 33-yard run on 4th and 1 after he burns about 6 hours off the clock on that scramble on 3rd down. He should have thrown that ball away. I maintain that, but doesn't matter. Converts on 4th and 1 and then drops a dime to Terry McLaurin. Watch your head, Deron Bland. Watch your head. Terry McLaurin's there. Calls game. Dunks on him. Like Shaq took the rim off that backboard. Just fantastic.
Are you a little fired up?
Fantastic. Son? I can't stand the way the Cowboys fans talk about Terry McLaurin. Well, I can't stand the way our fans talked about Terry McLaurin today.
Yeah, so, I mean, Twitter's just a cesspool. It's ridiculous. I mean, I think that let's take a common sense approach to this. As a fan, I wasn't happy with the results up until the last play. Not at all. I felt that they were like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. That's how they approached it. I thought your Dan Quinn take was terrible. I'm glad you corrected it. I mean, your take previous to the hand-up accountability, this is about players. Dan Quinn did everything he could to try to tell this team this game was important, get them prepared. But at the end of the day, you go on a run of 4-game win streak. 3 of them are thrillers. Now it's 4 that are thrillers. You're banged up. You're missing key offensive linemen, and Biadasz is probably the most valuable offensive lineman out there. You kept saying it. Dieter's a turnstile. You have no run game to speak of anymore, which is a real problem, which we can talk about in the midweek pod. It's just common sense that this is the performance we were going to get today. And I agree. Some brilliant signings. I just think of Wagner, Eckler, and Ertz. Just those 3 veteran guys that to me, as big as Jaden Daniels, is the key to get those kind of guys to fill out the roster and just be. I mean, Wagner was playing his ass off. Wagner was
great today.
I mean, you say whatever you want about anyone else on the field, maybe not being 100% there because it's just human to maybe not be 100% there. That guy was 100% there. You talk about
Wagner
a leader.
Wagner was great today.
So, it's just natural. And like I said, just within a split, 10 to 15 second span, the whole situation, the whole landscape changed. And now I think, there's no reason not to be confident that we can't go in and get a game next week. I don't know about what happens after that. I think that this team has to be firing on all cylinders, and or number 5 has to put the Superman cape on, both of which can happen. I think second half, 3 total touchdowns from Marcus Mariota. You got to give credit to Cliff Kingsbury for adjustments. I wish we could come out in the beginning and do that. I thought the defense showed up for 3 quarters. I wasn't real happy with just not being able to get stops at the end there. But then again, they were on the field a whole lot. So Jaden Daniels, let's get into this a little bit. Jaden Daniels plays a half. Decision is made to sit him. What did you think of the handling of the Jaden Daniels situation for this game.
Poor, not into it, especially with the further information that he was dealing with some leg soreness, as was quoted by Quinn at the end. I don't make much of that. I'm sure, like, the way they were describing it, they said they were kind of keeping a hot pack on like his quad. So I think he probably took like a knee to the quad or something like that. Which, you know, if you've ever played a contact sport,
some conjecture it might have happened last week too. Re-aggravated it this week.
You know how much that can hurt. If there was any doubt, he should have never touched the field this week. That's my feeling. And if it is something that happened last week that re-aggravated, especially, I think what you saw from Mariota proved it. I mean, the ball hit the ground 3 times in the second half when Mariota came in. He ran great, and one of the 3 times the ball hit the ground, he drops a dime, Josh Allen style, across his body to John Bates, who doesn't come down with it. But I mean, you can't. I personally, if the plan was to play 5 the whole game, great. And I understand that if you re-aggravated something that you didn't think was an issue, you pull them. That's the smart play. Or you just see the way things are going and you can't get protection for them and you pull them. That's the smart play. But it just kind of makes me like backtrack a little bit and be like, you know, with what Marcus Mariota can bring, with the fact that we're playing a wholly incapable Trey Lance is a bad quarterback. And I think 40 NFL quarterbacks probably win that game. You're lucky you saw Trey, who's, 50 and below. You're lucky Jerry Jones cheaped out on the $500K for Cooper Rush, but I would have went with Mariota to start. I know we were on here hindsight's 2020. We were on here a couple days ago saying we love that they're going for it and they should go for it, but I don't love it.
Yeah, I have a different take.
That's fair. Go.
I don't have any problem with the decision to start Jaden. Guys have nicks, guys have bruises. I'm sure he really wanted to play. I think it was a great decision at halftime to look at the situation and say, okay, he went in the medical tent for, a banged up leg, not something that would have stopped him from playing. I'm sure if this was a playoff game, he's in on that second half.
Tough game.
And then you look at the offensive line and the situation there and the pass rush that Dallas was getting. I think they read the situation and made a good decision at halftime. Yeah, you could, hindsight's 50-50, as one of our brilliant coaches once said. You could look at it and go, yeah, I mean, I'll match up Marcus Mariota to Trey Lance. And just because you play the backup doesn't mean you're not trying to win. Everyone else is. And actually, we showed that in the second half. I mean, he was out there with the rest of the starters. Terry played his ass off. Eckler started making plays. I think it was a combination of, Mariota was executing at a super high level. You couldn't imagine Jaden playing any better than Marcus did. But also, I think there were some adjustments made. And I think it's weird, but when you make a quarterback change like that, maybe it impacted the way the Cowboys played us as well. I don't have a problem with the way it was handled at all. But I think that the other thing that's an incredible highlight, I don't remember if we've said it, We're running on fumes a little bit here too, but
for sure,
Terry setting the franchise record for touchdowns on the very last play of the winning touchdown catch of the game was incredible. He's one of my favorite all-time players. He beats out players like Charlie Taylor and now I'm drawing a blank. I got it here. Ricky Sanders. Sorry about that. Ricky was just on the radio with Doc Walker this week, but he beats out legendary players like that to get it done. You can say he had an extra game. That's fine.
Who cares?
Just amazing. Great to see him get that. And it really does show that I think when Terry's not involved, it's very rarely Terry's fault. I'll just say it that way. Because obviously they were able to get him involved in the second half. And Marcus Mariota, man, he's responsible for 2 wins this year. Now, granted, 2 bad teams, especially at the time we played them, but still, It's 2 wins. And he gets 2 of those 12, which is great.
That is your job as a backup quarterback. That's exactly what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to come in and you're supposed to pick up and run the offense and pick up where the offense left off without the quarterback. You're not supposed to win, 10 games as a backup quarterback. That means somebody in the NFL made a mistake and you should be starting somewhere. You're supposed to come in and win a game like this that is was literally irrelevant by the time the game was over, right? You're supposed to come in and win against a bad Carolina team when your quarterback gets a little bruised up at the beginning, and he probably could have finished that game, but you say, you know what? Let Marcus go. We got a long season ahead. That's what is supposed to happen in these situations. And I think overall, man, you can't say enough good things about Marcus Mariota. And just, by the way, just so you know, that's 5 wins in a row. So a lot of talk about that 3-game slide. You come out of that 3-game slide with 5 straight wins. You
rattled off
huge.
You rattled off the historic situation in terms of the number of wins improvement. It's an NFL record going from 4 to 12 and tripling your win total. I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah.
It's also incredible to have 4 straight wins go, 5th straight win, but 4 of them. One was easy, which was 5 wins ago. Yeah. And then 4 straight go down to the last play of the game, essentially, or last 1 or 2 plays of the game. It's not easy on the ticker, as your godfather said when he called me post game. He said, "You guys might have to come check on me in the apartment after these games." I mean, we had no business winning this game.
No,
Dallas. 378 total yards to our 269. They had 37 minutes time of possession, and they did that with their 3rd-string quarterback. And we just couldn't move the ball at all.
Yeah.
Was probably, without a doubt, one of our poorest offensive performances. I'm not going to put it all on Jaden. You had a great point. I want you to make it with regards to, Jaden's play in the first half, because I think I totally agree with that take. I definitely want you to highlight that.
Yeah, gotta give a shout out to the boys in the HTTR group chat for that one. It was saying that we were kind of saying that it was they told Jaden maybe not to run too much today or to really focus on protecting himself, and that gets him second guessing. That gets him a little bit uncomfortable. We've seen the way when Jaden can start to get things going with his legs. Now all of a sudden the arm backs it up, right? And the way that can slow defenses down. And when he breaks some of these scrambles or he takes some of those risks taking guys on, how that can kind of build his confidence and get him feeling better. And I think when he's got that hanging over the back of his head going, protect yourself, don't get hurt, play it safe. When he's got that hanging over, that's where you see a ball float out a half a yard too far in front of McLaurin, Like that's where you start to see those things start to happen. I want to give credit to my boy Steinberg for that one. That was a smart play.
It absolutely makes sense. And I think it kind of shows something that we're not a good enough team. Like the build up to this game, I was thinking, okay, Jaden shouldn't run much. I think probably every fan was thinking that. Don't run a lot. The most important outcome to this game was Jaden coming out healthy, right? I mean, that was number one. That's why I was for Eckler playing, because I thought, okay, another weapon, takes a little pressure off of him. But when you go in with that mindset, you play with that mindset, and it's kind of what I said earlier, that 1 foot in, 1 foot out kind of mindset. That's just not how this team wins ball games. This team wins ball games by letting Jaden cook. And clearly there was a mindset of protect yourself, which was the right approach. That's why I think the halftime decision was such a good one, right? Because at that point, there's just no value in keeping him in the game. Maybe it ends up being the same result with him in the game. We're certainly going to always bet on 5.
Oh, I'm sure it would have been,
but I said it earlier, I'll say it again. I was sitting there going, okay, this is a loss. Green Bay's winning. We're going to have to go to Philly. That's going to be tough. That's going to be really
with
difficult.
Trent Scott and Michael Dieter and Brandon Coleman is now down.
I think Viatis comes back. I think a lot of these guys that they sat out this week are likely back. So let's.
Yeah. Crossing
But still,
every finger
regardless,
I got here.
our full roster
Please.
versus their full roster, you're going to have to give them the advantage, right? Especially at home, coming off a loss against us. Now, it's a completely different scenario. You're playing a warm weather place like Tampa or an indoor stadium, warm weather place like LA. You got to feel much better about that, much more confident. Anything can happen in football. Anything can happen in football, but I think this team's a 6th seed in the NFC. I think that's kind of where they belong. That's about right.
Yeah,
and I think them winning on the road against teams like Detroit, Philly. I guess we're Minnesota. Those things. That'd be tough to do in my opinion. For this,
gotta give a shout out to Detroit Lion. I'm on Ross St. Brown, who said that this playoff seeding system is all screwed up. Everybody who wins their division should make it, but overall record should determine the seed, because that would put us at the 4 seed. Look, it's not our fault Philly's in the division. As a matter of fact, we split the division with Philly this year. This is clearly one of the top 4 teams in the NFC. It's not close. And it's
a great point. I totally agree. I can't come up with an argument against that.
Now,
we're all playing, you play your teams in division twice, but that's been diluted. There's only 4 teams in every division. We're all playing, what was supposed to be a parity-based schedule. Yeah, do it by record, 100%.
Yep, I 100%. Agree. And now,
and I think being rewarded with a playoff berth as a division winner is enough.
Exactly.
If your division sucks and you get in at 8 and 9, you get a playoff berth out of it.
Yeah,
that's enough. And it's you don't need to get a playoff berth and home field advantage.
Look at the NCAA. Look at the NCAA tournament. If you win the ACC, there you go. If you win the ACC in the NCAA tournament, you make the dance, but you might be the 14th seed if the NCAA if the ACC is not that good that year. So.
That's a great point.
That's where we're at. It's fine. But we're better than Tampa or LA, and we should be hosting them. But this is the way it is. You take care of business against Dallas the first time, which we never should have lost to. You take care of business against Pittsburgh, you're having a different conversation. Either way, I am over the moon. This team is 12-5. Unbelievable. It's just crazy. I say we get on our awards. There's not much more that can be said here. Terry McLaurin will be our co-sauce award next to Marcus Mariota. For me, how do you pick between the two guys? It's just impossible.
I wasn't going to.
Co-sauce there. I love the call for the co-sauce there, because the historical impact of what Terry did today, not to mention, how huge he was on that last drive. You saw it was just get the ball to Terry, get the ball to Terry, get the ball to Terry. Cliff has been unbelievable in these end of game situations. I'm always sweating about how much clock is left and that we're taking a little bit too much time. And he always seems to have it just perfectly paced out. Please stay in DC, Cliff. Please.
Well, I think one thing I'll interject here, and I'll let you finish up the sauce award. But
go for it.
We were both thinking they should kick the field goal at the end there, but we were wrong, because there was time left on the clock. So even if that's an incompletion, they had time. They ran the kind of play. Credit to Cliff. They ran the kind of play where there was still time left on the clock. If that's an incompletion, and they could have kicked the field goal to go overtime. So, and the fact that it was a touchdown is so much better. And I think that's probably what would have happened. So, but just finish off the stats here. It's good stuff.
Yeah, so Terry McLaurin, 8 catches, 62 yards, game-winning touchdown for the franchise touchdown record as a wide receiver. Incredible. And Marcus Mariota, coming fresh off the bench, gets his second win of the year. 15 for 18 passing for 2 touchdowns, 141 passer rating, and 5 rushes for 56 yards and a rushing touchdown. That rushing touchdown was sick that he got. Played as good as you could have asked.
How about that 4th and 1 run? We didn't talk about that yet, I don't think. That was, it was an awful spot. Like, what are we doing? That was a first down. That was a first down. I don't care what anyone says. Horrible spot, but it turns into a 33-yard run on 4th and run. What a brilliant play. That was as big a play as there was in the game.
Yeah. And how about the little chess match? This is real nuts and bolts here, but how about the little chess match on 4th and 1 where Kingsbury brings out the extra tackle, and then that forces Dallas to substitute and Dallas to actually burn a timeout because they realize if we substitute for this jumbo package, we're not going to be able to substitute again going down the stretch here, and we're not going to be able to get our personnel out to defend the rest of it if they get it, versus Dallas to burn a timeout. Then we come back out in our normal package. And that gap that Mariota fit through to get that run was insanely tight. And I mean, my girlfriend Morgan's watching with me and she's going, he would have scored, or Jaden would have scored.
Probably.
Reality of it is, yes, with Jaden's speed, if he hit that gap, he would have scored a touchdown. But there's no way there's not more of a spy situation. The whole defense would have been rolled there, which is, so just credit to Marcus for making him pay for not respecting him there. And they even did. I mean, they did a pretty good job of respecting him. The defensive end stayed where he was supposed to be. Marcus just blasted through that gap. I didn't think he could do that. I don't think you thought he could do that. Like the only people who could do that were him and Cliff Kingsbury. So credit to him.
I think part of what's going on with Marcus Mariota, and it's kind of an odd thing, but you know the Marcus Mariota story, right? I mean, this is 4th or 15, former second pick in the draft, former Heisman winner.
Yep.
I'll be honest with you, I always liked him a lot. What really soured me on Marcus was the situation in Atlanta. I just felt like, that the way that situation occurred, just left a bad taste in my mouth. But I think being the backup in Philly and watching Hurts for a year, and then being the backup here and seeing how this offense is executed, I don't think the results would be the same had Marcus started this year. Nowhere close, right? But
yeah.
I think that he's been inspired. He has gone through a rebirth, and he sees where Jaden has success in this offense, and he's able to execute that to his credit. He's not as fast as Jaden, but he's a heck of a mobile quarterback. I feel like sitting behind Jaden this year, it's like this reverse thing. Usually you think the rookie sitting behind the vet is a good situation. I think Marcus sitting behind Jaden has just inspired him. And you see the teamwork and the happiness that they have for each other out there. The smile, the support. Jaden could have been pissed about being sat out. He could have fought that, but he went with it and he supported his brother as a teammate, and that's just great. And you can't say enough about Marcus was able to bring. I mean, just terrific.
And here's a name you had the under on for coming up today, but that's why you trade Sam Howell right there.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, no disrespect to Sam, but that's
just a conversation for another day.
That is the smart general manager move of Adam Peters to get a veteran quarterback who can run the same offense, keep him in place there, let the young kid go somewhere else. And if he makes it there, good for him. We've got our guy. We're all in. That is the smart move right there. That's why you do that.
I think when they said in the offseason, Peters and Quinn, this is a recalibration. It's a recalibration for all of us as fans. The bar was so low on quarterback play and organization and team in general and what it takes to win. Whatever our opinions were in the offseason, they've been completely recalibrated now.
Yeah.
Right. And anybody that thinks any of the quarterbacks that we had, other than maybe Kirk and for a little while,
Smith before
the injury.
Yeah.
Thanks for reading my mind.
Not a lot to choose from there. It was pretty easy.
I mean, it's been awful.
Yeah.
It's been awful. And people wanted to make Taylor Heineke into a starting NFL QB. Come on. But Marcus, what it means for him, as a potential starter in this league, it hasn't gone well. But, what he's brought to this team, give him all kinds of credit. We call it the Sauce Award because Sunday sauce is the tradition in our home. Yep. 2 plates out on the table for these guys. Come on over. We're ready for you.
Y'all are welcome whenever. And as a matter of fact, we'll get plates for these next guys too. Our helmet stickers.
100%.
You're always welcome. And again, Adam bleeping
Frickin'
Peters. Adam, the Catalina frickin' wine mixer, Adam Peters. We'll go through
There's
their
only one
stats.
returning player on this whole list.
We'll go through their
and
stats.
He's a legend.
Not a single returning player to this team on the helmet.
I'm saying there's only one returning player on this whole list.
Of all the awards. Fair. Yeah. Zach Ertz comes in towards the end of his career, revitalizes the team, huge baller, great player. Bobby Wagner, same thing, 1-year deal towards the end of his career, baller, bring him back. Jeremy Chin, guy that has incredible athletic ability, did not have a position room in Carolina. Do you know how that impacts a young player? Brings him in, looks like a stud, blank check for Jeremy Chin. And Mike Saverstill.
Easy there, young fella.
You trade back. I'm serious, man. I'm serious. You pay that guy whatever he wants. He is exactly, you want to talk about a dog-ass dude or whatever Dan Quinn would say. He is exactly what this defense is supposed to be. And Mike Saverstill, speaking of that, you talked about Bobby Wagner at times looked like the only guy who came to play today. Mike Saverstill did as well. 10 tackles, second on the team, 3 passes defended, some on key third downs, whatever it was. Just fantastic ball from Mike Saverstill. Unbelievable coverage in the end zone on Brandon Cooks on that one play. Just textbook. And that's a guy, again, you traded back. You got Brandon Coleman thanks to that trade back, who's been really great this year as well. And Mike Saverstill does his thing. So kudos to Adam Peters. He gets a sauce award today too, as far as I'm concerned. But let's go through these stats. Zach Ertz, 5 catches, 44 yards and a touchdown. Jeremy Chin, 13 tackles, led the team, 1 sack, which was a huge sack, 2 tackles for loss, and a quarterback hit. Mike Saverstill, 10 tackles, second on the team, 3 passes defended. Bobby Wagner, 8 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 1 pass defended. Played sensationally today. Just great stuff. And again, these are all guys, with the exception of Saverstill, who's a rookie, that were veterans that were brought in to fill gaps. You talk about a guy like Cam Curl walking last year, a good player, a solid player that you let go because a guy like Jeremy Chin fits your vision more for what you need to do. You talk about a guy like Logan Thomas, a decent veteran player, never really lived up to that contract, but was solid. You let him walk. You bring in a guy like Zach Ertz because he fits your vision and what you need him to do. You talk about
not even close.
I mean, you talk about, you damn near had me at linebacker last year. Bobby Wagner comes in, does what you need him to do. Same thing with Kendall Fuller. You let Kendall Fuller walk. You draft a young guy in Mike Saverstill with a much higher ceiling and is already playing at a higher level than Fuller played at when he was here, and Fuller was good. So just really smart all around. Adam Peters has got to be executive of the year. I mean, I don't know how you give it to anybody else.
And I mean, Mariota starts to find Ertz in the second half, starts to find Terry. It was, just some great things there. Ertz gets that touchdown, which was great. So I mean, it's a great list. What can I say?
Yep, and just some breaking news here. You want to talk about where things can be on the other side of a rebuild? The Patriots have just fired Gerard Mayo after 1 year. So things are going to get interesting up in New England. People are in love with Drake May. Apparently, they're lining up around the block.
They just won, too.
Yeah.
Which blew the last pick.
They just fired the young man. So real shame for Mayo. Reports are that's Ben Johnson's top destination as well as Mike Vrabel's. So this should get interesting. But to back to the kick, we'll have plenty of time to talk about that. That is chaos. Thank God we're not there. I mean, you want to talk about the two opposite sides. We picked number 2, they picked number 3. And you got one team that, blew the number 1 overall pick this year, was the worst team in the NFL for most of the year. And then you got the other team 12-5. So this is how different things can go in the NFL in just 1 year.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what Dallas does with McCarthy too, right? A little closer to home.
Yeah.
Related to this game. I mean, they said that Jara was saying that the decision was already made. The hay was in the barn, I think was his exact quote. Didn't matter what happened in this game. So who knows what that means. But might hear an announcement on that one soon too.
Yeah. It's going to get fun.
Yeah.
How fun is it to like enjoy this head coaching cycle without our lives on the line? We're going to get to just enjoy this from the outside.
I tell you what, and maybe we could tie this to the kick-cots because we got a kick-cots of the game, but kick-cots of the – I hate week 18 football.
Yeah,
like,
not much to watch.
In a situation like this, it's like you're in these situations where you don't want guys to get hurt. Should you play them? Shouldn't you play them? You got a playoff berth, but you're worried about the seed. Look at what happened with Green Bay, Jordan Love going down. I mean, hopefully he's okay.
Busted up his throwing hand.
It sucks. It's just that was like 3 hours of not much fun up until that last play or that last drive. The whole last drive was pretty fun. And some of the plays that Marcus and they, but it just week 18 football for the most part just sucks. It's just bad. It's like a combination of preseason, and regular season football.
Yeah.
Like this weirdness to it.
Week 1 stinks and week 18 stinks. And it's almost like we had it right at 16 games. And if you think week 18 football sucks, wait till we get week 19 football in a couple of years. I mean, we're not going to be complaining. More football to watch, I guess. But at a certain point, you got to stop adding games to this schedule, in my opinion.
Well, it impacts things. Like you got a situation where, teams need Denver to lose. But Kansas City's saying, we don't care. We're not gonna play our starters in this game.
You see Carson Wentz's outfit today?
Denver the game, and it's like it also creates this. I mean, it is what it is. There's nothing you can do about it. I don't blame Kansas City, but it's just, and I don't know that there's anything you can really do about it. It always happens, whether it's 17, 18, 19 games. Like there's always going to be some of this the last week. The teams that got it done early get rewarded, but it's just there's a lot of weirdness to it. I'm really happy that now there's no holding us back. You're going to go in with your full team, your full game plan. If guys can make it on the field, they're going to play. Hopefully we can roll out a pretty healthy team next week. Anyway, just wanted to inject that. Week 18 it's just,
I mean, imagine being Joe Burrow and you're watching the Chiefs game and you see that roll out of the tunnel.
Oh my goodness!
Imagine that.
Oh my goodness!
Hey, your career's on the line for that guy.
It's true.
Oh, it's 2 years ago today, that was our starter. Oh, God is good. Gosh. God is good.
Well, I mean, I tell you what, as bad as this week goes, 6 wild card games next week is going to be phenomenal. And knowing that our boys are in one of them is going to be phenomenal. So
yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. My heart's already racing a little bit just thinking about it. I'm getting anxious. But kick-out to the game. Let's wrap this thing up with our award segment here. But the kick-out to the game has got to be that OZ drop, and I would zoom out a little bit. All the drops in the first half. On that De'Ami Brown throw.
It was such a great ball.
It was unbelievable.
De'Ami's going to throw, which was cool. And then usually you got a receiver throwing the ball. It's kind of like, a wobbler. And
he just flung that thing.
Which probably would have had that was a dart.
Yeah.
It was such a good thrown ball.
Yeah, and OZ tracked that ball really poorly and just couldn't bring it in.
Awful.
Devil's advocate here. Can we draw that play up to have the former quarterback, Luke McCaffrey, throw the ball to De'Ami Brown, who's the best vertical deep threat on this team? Can we draw that play up that way? Perhaps. I mean, maybe part of the fact that it's De'Ami, you don't expect it as much, but maybe we make a little adjustment there. I also didn't love giving that trick play away before the playoffs, but
I thought about that.
You needed something, I guess. But yeah, if you catch that, I mean, you would have loved to
sling it, man. I know it's only one pass, but it was a thing of beauty.
You would have loved to be taking Jaden out of the game with us being up, 21-7 or 21-6 or something like that. You would have felt way better about that than having Marcus Mariota have to do his best Jaden Daniels impression at the end of that one and put his Superman cape on. But love to see it happen.
It's just how that first half was going, right? It was that one play was representative of it just wasn't there in the first half. Yeah.
We're going to need 4 complete quarters next week. That's for sure. Let's wrap this thing up, Pop, so we could figure out who the heck we play next week.
Yeah.
Without further ado, I've been Dom.
This is Pop.
Thank you guys for another great week. Your Washington Commanders are 12-5, headed to the playoffs. Hail to the Commanders.
Hail.